Is that where you're going to be? Kind of not on front. You'll see when it comes up.
Move it. I'll move along a bit.
What was that noise? That was my phone, was it? All right. Good. I can turn you up. Oh, by the way, welcome to the live viewers. We're not very good at this live thing, are we? We're just like, we're going live. Now ignore them. Just ignore them. Ignore everybody.
Just act like they're not there.
Yeah. Pretend they're not there. Close your eyes.
No, welcome to the evening portion of the 12:40 Hangover Cured podcast live stream.
This is where we sip wine instead of coffee, although Rodders has opted for coffee again.
I'm still just going to have coffee, I think.
You're going to be up all night, but yeah. We should probably explain what happened.
Well, why don't you take the reins there, Harvey?
You say that like it's my fault. Like, I understand.
You know about it.
I understand what happened. I don't see how...
Intimately.
I do understand what happened, so I am qualified to explain.
We don't need the details. Basically, the audio failed. As it did.
You may have noticed in last week's podcast, during the live feed, if you happen to be watching, which we know, I think pretty much no one was.
Probably not.
As always.
Probably not.
We did fail to record part of the podcast, and we managed to recover it. This week, we decided not to recover it, and we ended up with about half a podcast.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a full episode.
No,
I don't think we got there.
We got 30 minutes of good stuff, but we really wanted to finish off the thoughts and, round it out.
All right, well, what should we... I'm just at a bit of a loss as to what to do. Should we play the music again?
Nah, definitely no music this time.
Not playing the music.
We're just going to we'll play the James Cromwell clip that I had queued up.
That's right. We're going to go from there again, basically.
And we'll just go from there. So we might end up repeating some stuff, but who cares? Who cares? It's the good thing about being an amateur podcast.
Good morning.
No one cares. All right, so I'm going to play the James Cromwell clip, but you have to start recording. One of us is in deep trouble. Stop pressing your little buttons for a second and press the record button, and then you can do your own.
Oh, we're recording. We're recording.
Oh, it's already going?
Okay. Yeah.
Let me just have this wine first.
The whole time it's been going.
Oh, that's a good drop. Should I put the pop back on? It is popping a lot. I think
it is. Yeah,
I'll put it back on.
It does make a bit of a difference.
It does. Poppy, poppy, pop, pop. It's still a bit poppy.
It won't take it out fully.
No,
of course
it doesn't.
But I think it helps.
All right, Crommy.
So
ready for a bit of crom?
Clip away.
All right.
We're at war not only with Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan and Yemen. We're at war with Dimmock, Pennsylvania, where the gas comes from, with Wawayanda that uses the gas, with Seneca Lake, where it was to be stored, and
I feel like I've heard this
Standing
before.
Rock. And it is time actually to name the disease. Most people can't put their finger on the cause of it, but everybody perceives the threat. Capitalism is a cancer. And the only way to defeat this cancer is to completely, radically transform our way of living and our way of thinking about ourselves.
Yeah.
James Cromwell, ladies and gentlemen.
There he goes, flying off the handle.
Just another crazy malfunctioning actor in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He's a bit late in life to be, shaking his mind control programming. But
yeah, oh well,
perhaps he's talking some sense.
He believes that money's ruining everything, basically. The free market's ruining everything.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting part. He blames capitalism quite... Well, he specifically blames
Well, that's what
capitalism.
That's what he said.
And again, I mean, it's worth defining what that is. I don't know what it means to James Cromwell, and it seems to mean different things to different people, this idea of capitalism. To some people it means corporate greed. To other people it means...
It's a pretty broad term now,
open free market system.
But that's what I see it more as. That it
free markets?
Yeah, it's the open free market where you can...
So you don't believe the free market is a cure-all where supply and demand will balance out perfectly?
I don't think the invisible hand guides us to the road of salvation. Put that way.
The invisible free market hand?
The invisible free market hand.
Well, I tend to go more with what Peter Joseph says, which is that the free market leads to corruption. Always has, always will. Does. And it's a part of the system. It's not outside of the system. People say, well, if we just had a free market, we wouldn't have all this corruption. And his point has always been, no, this is the system.
This is it.
This corruption is where that system leads. And I tend to go with that. I think that's probably, to some extent, true. It breeds corruption because it does encourage greed. Well, it doesn't necessitate greed.
It incentivizes.
But it incentivizes greed.
Greed, for sure.
That's right.
Which is why structurally the whole thing needs a rethink.
Yeah.
Because we need to start from a different fundamental point, I think, before we can start to think about, you know, how all these problems get solved.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, you know, just time and time again you hear about all the problems, and it gets, you know, gets pretty old to people. They don't want to hear about problems all the time.
It is overwhelming in a way.
Gets overwhelming, and it's time to, you know, get more creative and design solutions, right? Not just...
well, it's like, you know, the city of Canberra versus...
I know the city of Canberra.
Yeah. Have you been there?
No.
But you know roughly about it, right? The city of Canberra,
I know
as opposed to like Melbourne or Sydney, was a designed city. It was centrally planned. It was planned out how the roads were going to interconnect and how all the systems were going to work before they started building the city.
Right.
So there's not many cities in the world where that happens. You know, I mean, I guess maybe there are some others. I'm not. I don't know of any other examples. I'm sure there are, but it's a rare thing. Most of the time, cities evolve and they become kind of a mess, and then they get congested, and then they go, okay, we need to go underground.
Yeah, as the population expands and the different resources become available.
Yeah, and people flock to the city. And
it kind of, like you said, it evolves due to the needs of the people in that vicinity. Yeah,
well, I think of our economic system in the same way. Why can't we just go back, state our goals first, and design a system that fulfills those goals, rather than have this system that, in a sense, did evolve out of whatever? Like, I don't know. I was watching this interview with between what's his name? I keep thinking David Brent, but it's not David Brent. It's Russell Brand. Yeah, so this interview between Russell Brand and Adam Curtis, which I believe you've had to listen to.
I briefly had to listen to part of it.
It's an interesting interview. In that, you know, Adam Curtis sort of, in a way, touches on this, and he's talking about how everything is crazy, but because we don't have an alternative, we just accept it.
There's a bit of hair on my microphone.
Yeah, where'd that come from? What have you been doing? Was it a curly one?
I don't know what it's doing there.
Was it a curly hair?
No.
How long was it?
It was a short hair, so...
Oh, it might have been mustache hair. But I doubt it.
Don't know. Yeah, it just got caught in there. But,
Shut up, you.
Yeah. Quiet audience.
We have a spectator in the studio. She thinks she's not allowed to make noise, but she can. It doesn't matter.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. This is part 2.
This is uncharted territory for the 1240.
Might become a drunk cast if I drink fast enough.
Let's hope not. But you're gonna play the clip, Adam Curtis clip, where he's talking to Russell Brand.
It's a fairly interesting.
Because I didn't really listen to it, you know, very closely.
You fell asleep, didn't you? Is that what you said?
No, I was eating at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, it's hard to focus when you're eating. So I'll play. This is him basically stating his premise about hypernormalization. So,
what I meant by hypernormalization control. Everybody knew this, and the leaders knew that everybody knew this, but nobody did anything about it because there was nothing else. It was normal, and he coined the phrase.
So that's basically where I wanted to stop that.
Yeah.
So he's saying, basically, because even though everything's completely fucked up and no one really wants to accept it, they're not presented with an alternative. So they just go, well, nothing's going to get any better.
That's where that phrase, you know, things are the way they are kind of thing, you know, it's that kind of mentality. And
we have to accept the deaths of millions.
It is the way it is. And it's
this is the world we live in now.
You know, and people see you as a troublemaker if you want to say there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, if you don't submit to the learned helplessness of society, the bullying and the mind control. Yeah, and if
you don't buy into that, then you're causing a problem for people.
Yeah, well, it's like we were saying about
oftentimes,
you know, the people who talk about social justice warriors and stuff. They're basically using those derogatory terms. They're just prefacing their argument by saying, if you disagree with what I'm about to say, you're going to get humiliated by me.
Yeah, it's kind of adversarial in a general sense.
Yeah, it is.
You know, if you dare question it, then
you're
against it, and you're anti this and you're anti that just because you have a point of view.
Exactly. And then I get to put a label on you if you disagree with what I said.
So, yeah, that sucks.
It's exactly the reason I don't use the term...
Fucking sucks.
That's why I don't use the term sheeple. I don't use the term awake. I don't use the term asleep. I don't use the term... I don't know what other ones there are. There's a whole bunch.
Zombies,
yeah. Actually, I do. I do use that one in different contexts, but not for people who
people
disagree with me.
genuinely look like zombies.
Yeah, there is a zombification of society going on, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, people just shift into that autopilot mode and they look kind of like a zombie.
Yeah, no, I think that's in some ways valid, but I see people who are in that state more as victims than I do as...
Well, that's right. It makes it almost makes me want to, do something weird just to snap them out of it.
Like what? Fart in their face?
I don't know. Yeah, just fart really loudly near them or something, and they just. Ooh.
So you're just going to go up to some hobo and go, "Hey, wake up, pal!"
And then go, that's actually healthy. You breathe that in.
Yeah, get a good dose of it. Yeah,
it helps.
I ate sarin for breakfast. I hope that's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, you might get a bit of that.
Yeah, you might get a little bit of that.
Not exactly, but
you might get a bit of a dose of cabbage spray. Sorry about that, but it is healthy. I've done you a favour.
Well, yeah.
Can you explain that? You never explained that when we brought that up last time.
What's that?
Your claim that breathing in other people's farts is healthy.
Farts are healthy. Yeah, I'd have to backtrack it.
You don't even remember where it came from.
Don't remember where I saw it, to be honest. It was on the internet somewhere.
Well, that's something to look forward to in future podcasts. Then I guess.
But perhaps
for
follow up next episode, the details behind that
I'll put
theory.
it in Trello so we don't forget.
Tag it in there so that I can go through it in more detail next episode. I'd be glad to, actually. I'd be quite happy to.
Oh, I'll be riveted. And
have a conversation about farts.
And I'm going to eat baked beans before we do that one, just so that I've got something.
Feel free to add your own live sound effects.
Little something special for
during we might have to open a window in here.
You'll be like, the reason why farts are healthy, breathing in other people's farts.
I hope people won't mind me dry reaching through the conversation as we talk about it. But yeah, that's something for the next podcast.
It wouldn't be a new low, would it?
We've gone lower than that.
Yeah, we've gone way lower than that.
We've gone way lower than that. So,
yeah.
Do we have anything else? Is that what we were going to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we can leave the psychopath stuff there.
I actually, that original podcast by James Corbett was 2009, I think.
Okay, so I thought it would have been.
Yeah, it's ages ago. So clearly he did.
We ripped him off.
We ripped him off unconsciously, kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Yeah. I still want to accuse him because it might get us. It might get us some views. Let's start a feud with James Corbett. The one
if
guy
he's listening now,
no one gets mad at.
If he's listening, it's like being mad at Andrew Gaze.
That's right. Yeah.
Because the guy's always been looked at as such a nice character,
Or Obama.
Of nice character.
Oh, no, wait. Lots of people hated Obama.
There's plenty of reasons to dislike Obama if you want to go down that.
Yeah, he was a
rabbit
murderer.
Hole, but
he was a massive murderer.
Yeah,
bad example.
Definitely. It's just funny how that's lined up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like he did that, so long ago, and we basically rehashed it and. Yeah. Said it in our own words, and then and it was reposted by Brock West on that channel. I think that's what he does. He kind of reposts stuff on that.
Yeah, that's why it's on the extras channel. But man, it's such a good video. Like I really hope that anyone listening to this goes and listens to that. And in fact, you might as well abandon us.
Did we put the link in the other episode for that? No, we'll put it in this one.
No, we'll put it in this one. Yeah, but yeah, you won't need us anymore. For anything, really. Although I would hope we're funnier than James Corbett. No offense, James.
Well, we've got that fart conversation coming up. So
yeah, that's something to look forward to. Fart jokes are always funny. That's a rule.
I wonder if Trump would be in on that conversation. We might want
we could bring him in and find out. I mean, I know he
see
farts.
If he's across the theory.
He grabs pussy. He
no doubt he farts on people and then tells them to smell
farts.
It. Inhale that. That's the best fart. That's the best fart you're gonna hear.
I bet he did a stinky
or smell all week. I guarantee it. It's the best.
Not the best person. Best impersonation.
I'm deliberately doing it badly because Caleb does it better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, look, he's not above a stinky palm, and he's certainly would fart in his hand and throw it at you.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, he'd cupcake gladly.
Absolutely. He'd probably fart in his hand and then slap you with it.
Yeah, exactly. Mush it into your face.
I miss being bullied.
Yeah. So...
it's been a while.
We were sort of going to go across a little bit of counter economics, but I honestly think that's a big conversation about how you can actually.
Well, let's end with our wheelhouse, and what's in our wheelhouse is one thing we can do
being counter economic,
to be counter economic or to opt out of the system or whatever.
One simple way.
Yeah, you go first. Something you've actually done, not something you suggest.
Shop locally,
right?
Like shop at places that are family owned.
Yeah,
in that area, in that local area. Go to a market, talk to the people there, find out where they source their food.
Yeah,
and the more local it is, support that. Above going to supermarkets, which is unfortunately.
Fart while you're there, just so everyone can share in the health.
Look, I'm not always in control of my sphincter, and
really, I've always got one ready if I need it.
There's one in the chamber. There's one in the chamber there, and
that's right. Yeah.
It seems appropriate. Then hell yeah.
So you just basically you go up to the market
near the cabbage or whatever.
Go to the cabbage guy and say, thank you very much for these healthy cabbages. In return, I would like to give you this. Fuck! Welcome.
And then he swears at you.
Yeah. And then he's like, hey, you farted on my cabbages. And
what are you, my father?
And you'll be like, yeah, but it was part the cabbage you sold me last week.
Because cabbage will...
Smell it.
Yeah. You'd be like, yeah, I recognise that. You'd be like, yeah, I recognise.
Yeah. Oh, I recognise that cabbage.
That's familiar, that smell.
Yeah, that was from last Wednesday, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that. They had that coppery smell to them.
That's from Castlemaine, I believe. Cabbage. I
believe you got a couple of turnips too from the smell of it.
So I believe that's counter-economic, supporting locally owned business above your multinational corporations.
Absolutely.
Businesses.
That's admirable, and I need to do more of that because we have the fruit shop across the way, and I don't go there, and I want to.
Yeah, I mean, that's as good as anywhere.
It's very hard to get out of the habit of just doing everything at the supermarket. It's like, it's just instinct. It's like, I'm hungry,
a psyop.
Let's go to Coles
or
Woolworths.
But you walk in there, from the moment you can see the entrance to Coles, it's a psyop.
Yeah, you do.
And you just go, well, I'm buying into this again. What's wrong with me?
Yep, I've actually fallen for the propaganda again. The big shiny lights.
The big shiny lights and the big fingers pointing at stuff.
Food colour injected tomatoes and
the
whatever
big numbers.
Yeah.
On signs.
You want to hear what's in my wheelhouse?
What's in your wheelhouse?
This is going to sound a little insincere. You'll probably sneer at me.
Will I scoff?
Yeah, because it's it's something that's evolved more than something that was a deliberate thing. But it is something that I do that I think other people could consider doing. You do it too, but I don't know if you're always going to. You haven't always. But I've never owned a car. Now, the reason I didn't own a car previously was mainly because, I don't know, I had no money, didn't want to buy one. I had an accident when I was quite young.
Yeah,
really
so
shook.
You don't want to own a car.
Yeah, it really shook me, the accident, and I decided not to get a car.
Traumatic.
Because I just decided that the risk of being on the road, even though that accident was my fault, I could have been the guy that I hit, and there was nothing he could have done about it. Yeah. So I just figured, well, okay, so now I'm gambling on the road.
It is a gamble, you're right. Going onto the road in a car is a gamble.
Yeah,
on a bike or any type of vehicle, really. It's a gamble because someone, could just fall asleep at the wheel and
absolutely
drive straight
anytime.
That can happen.
And so initially it was a very selfish reason, so I don't pretend that, I had some
not very noble
awakening, noble idea when I was young and I decided I'm never going to drive a car. But now I look back and what keeps me not driving a car, even though it probably would be pretty convenient, is I see oil as, the oil industry and the petrodollar and all of this stuff as one of the strangleholds that the global elite have on us.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we're a slave to. So I don't want to be as reliant on oil as I would be if I had a car. It's one thing I can do, which is just live near public transport wherever I go, which I've always done anyway. Live near a train station, and then I don't need the car.
there's definitely a big reliance on cars in Australia. You notice that, like it's almost one person per car.
It's more than that. People treat you like a leper if you don't have one.
People just assume you have a car.
Yeah, well at first they assume, and then you say, "No, I don't," and they say, "Why? What's wrong with you?"
Well, some people might say that. Yeah,
they do. They literally say, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah,
you know, if they're being honest.
Some people might say.
Sometimes, if they're being nice, they'll say, you know, "Oh, what is your reason for not having a car?" But they'll always query it as if
how come?
Yeah. As if it's an abomination of some kind.
Yeah, it's like it's abnormal.
Yeah,
not
it's completely
have a car.
abnormal. And you know, look, I don't put down people who have cars. You know, I can see the logic of it, but that's just one thing I choose to do. And I think
a lot of people have a genuine need for a car, but yeah, it's not a reason to, you know, get into a conflict with anybody.
No, I don't push that belief on anybody. It's just one thing that I do personally. It's something I can do quite easily because I've always not had a car. It's very, you know, I'm very used to it. I lived in the Philippines for a long time where public transport is just literally just walk out onto the road and get on something and go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool like
so
that.
There was no reason and the traffic's terrible there, so there's just no reason to have your own vehicle there.
Possibly a lot more dangerous, that traffic.
Possibly. Well, when it's moving fast enough to do damage, it is. But it actually is quite rare for it to move
every
fast
day
enough.
I was amazed at what people did amongst traffic. Like people just walk into traffic.
When I was living in Subic Bay and walking down that national highway, it was just a matter of time before someone just came off the road and killed you. I mean, it happened to a friend of mine that he didn't die, but he was...
Got hit.
Yeah, he was very, very badly injured.
Dangerous, no matter what you do.
Absolutely. So that's
it's a dangerous world.
That's my counter-economic wheelhouse, Rodders, and it may not be noble, but it is something that works.
But it's something.
Yeah,
it's something.
It's amongst other things. I think it's... I would say...
There's, of course, a lot more.
Despite it not being initially a noble choice, it's still an extremely significant one, and I think if more people could do it, like 10% of people did that, then perhaps the US wouldn't be a slave to Saudi Arabia and could do something about ISIS. Who knows?
People across the whole global spectrum could definitely stand to drive less cars.
Absolutely. And I think, public transport could be upgraded. We're getting an upgrade here in Melbourne, aren't we? We're pretty lucky.
Well, yeah, hopefully it's a big improvement on the
old government spending some of our hard-earned tax dollars on
government,
giving it back to us.
Giving us throwing a bit of change back to it.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure it's a highly efficient contract and it hasn't been given to their mates or anything.
Just keep thinking it'd be so cool if it all just went underground. If everything was underground.
Well, I think
I
think the elites will probably kill us one day and they'll go underground. Is that sort of what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's sort of like you're talking about a whole
all of society.
Yeah,
under 500 million of them.
A mile
living underground. Like, what's that movie where that happens? The one with Bruce Willis. 12 Monkeys, they do that, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where all the cloned celebrities are.
They're all down there.
They're all down in that community.
Actually, we talked about Katy Perry a couple of weeks ago. This might be a good thing to close on. I've got a video. It proves that 100% that she's Illuminati.
100% proof?
It is 100% proof, yeah.
Wow.
So I thought it was pretty amazing.
Who would have thought that on the internet?
I thought it was worth playing because in case you weren't convinced by the last one, that she's dead and cloned and Illuminati and everything else, that she's a synthetic, hybrid, I don't know, probably an alien too, who knows. If you weren't convinced by that, I think this one will convince
Incidentally,
you.
Did you hear Bill Burr talk about, he saw that interview and he totally, he had a big whinge about it on his podcast.
Oh, the psychiatrist thing?
Yeah. The therapist.
Well, if we want to know why, I think we need to be aware. I think everyone needs to be aware of this Katy Perry problem. And, I want to play it. It's a 2-minute video, so we might not go through the whole thing.
Are her days over? Is she going to just get wildly unpopular now?
As soon as people hear this video, no one will support Katy Perry anymore.
All right.
After this. I don't know if we need to play the full 2 minutes, but I'll play, up until the point where I feel like I'm losing interest.
Okay.
All right.
This, I advise that you have got a full set of drums with you because we are about to beat some shit up. Katy Perry. Perry. Nando's. Chicken. Egg. Eggs are curved. Curve. Curve rhymes with observe. Observe. Witness. Witness is the name of Katy Perry's new album. But what does this mean, and how does it link to Katy Perry's involvement with the Illuminati? I have no idea. But how about we try again? Katy Perry.
So he's
Katy Perry
not
has a
arrogant enough to
website.
think he got it right the
Website.
first
Yeah, he's
time.
going to try again.
Websites
He's
begin
finding
with
the
HTTP 410 gun client error response code 4:10 4 minutes 10. 4 minutes 10 is the same exact length of Katy Perry's song Witness, which coincidentally features in her album also called Witness.
Mind equals blown.
But wait, no, we've arrived here again. No, start again. Here's a video of Katy Perry.
So he's going again.
We're all familiar with that bit of footage.
Katy Perry falling over, yeah.
Collapsing horribly on the stage.
This video contains singer Katy Perry. The Witness album cover also contains singer Katy Perry.
There you go, he's getting there.
Once again we're at this picture. Damn it. I am actually really angry. Someone better hold me back. Why does all my evidence keep repeatedly pointing to this album cover of Katy Perry?
It's
what
building
is it about
up
this picture
as
that
the
has
evidence
got to
builds
do
up.
with the Illuminati? What could it possibly be? That is it.
Well, there you
The
go.
background is 240 blue. 2 + 4 + 0 is 6. This is Katy Perry's 5th studio album. 6 Tech 5 is 1. The Illuminati is 1 ISO. Katy Perry is Illuminati confirmed.
Done.
Confirmed, yeah.
Confirmed.
So if you're not convinced by that, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take.
I
I don't know.
Honestly, you're not thinking straight if that hasn't won you over. 100%. Illuminati confirmed.
Confirmed. It just proves that right music, the funny computer voice, and pretty much random terms. Just mention the Illuminati, and there you go. Gold.
It's worth mentioning that the I got to say the channel name, don't I? Hang on a sec. Let me scroll down. The channel name is Peladophobian. Peladophobian. I don't know. It's hard to say as it is for him to say.
I actually watched that video of, about a week ago, I think.
Yeah. Classic. And he has dozens of them, just dozens of them proving Illuminati connections all over the shop.
So if you want to, if you like that sort of thing, then head there.
Absolutely. He's bound to get something right eventually.
All right. Well, I think that'll just about do it. And thanks for coming back for part 2.
Yeah.
Hopefully no more interruptions from here on in. We've got a better system worked out.
Possibly.
All that shit. So, I'm going to call it a night. Turn in. Go to bed.
Go to bed. It's 8:30, but yeah, get into bed.
No, but if people are listening to this audio, this bonus audio,
no, I think
might be bedtime.
It's Sunday night. I think it's time to earn your hangover for Monday. Right?
Follow us on Twitter at 1240 Podcast. Check out the Our Leaders of Psychopaths video, James Corbett video.
That was pretty good too, yeah. But watch the James Corbett one, it's way better.
Yeah.
It's on the Corbett Report Extras channel.
We'll put a link, like we said.
We'll probably forget, so.
No, I'm putting it there now.
All right. If we don't forget, remember to give us 5 stars on
iTunes. Fucking iTunes. Yeah, we got no fucking love on iTunes at all.
It's still not working.
Fuck you, iTunes. Seriously, I fucking hate iTunes.
I hate iTunes too.
iTunes can suck it, and
iTunes can suck my dick.
You know, we're there on Facebook. We're there on SoundCloud. Where else are we?
Nowhere.
That's it.
YouTube.
Tube.
Yeah.
BitChute.
We're on BitChute. Yeah.
BitChute.
Sometimes.
Hopefully a lot more in the future. That's it. Anyway, that's it. That's it. Fuck off.
Well, you get to cut it off whenever you want. Just, stop it.
Should it be now?
Why not? I mean, it's not
more
like
sound effects.
It's not like we're likely to have any kind of satisfactory closure on this podcast. We never have.
So when
why start now?
When should we stop it?
How about mid-sentence? I mean, you could probably just stop.
I stopped it during my own sentence.
All right, there we go. Well, the live stream's still going, so I'm going to stop streaming as well. So if you're watching on the stream,
bye.
And I know for a fact you're not.
I know we suck. Sorry.
It's new equipment. it's bound to be.
We'll be back, better than ever.
We will still continue to try and stream. Hopefully it'll be better. Bye, live stream. See ya.